We could just sit really close to each other with our faces next to each other, and then we would be friends.
Yeah, but just pretend like you're taking a picture.
The whole time. He doesn't like to get close to me. It's okay.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, yes, I do.
Look at that. How does it feel to be in the guest seat, Cullen?
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah? It's like a different world over there, isn't it?
Hey, how are you doing over there?
This is my podcast now.
That's right. Are you ready? Why don't you clap us in, babe?
Clap you in?
Yeah. Give us the clap.
I'm so used to
Wrong podcast.
I'm so used to hearing you say that. So when you said babe, I was like, wait, are you talking to me?
No, he took over.
Hey, if we just get up in the middle of this, it's because we're checking the cameras, so don't freak out.
Is this mine? Oh, I'm listening to Nelly. Excuse me. It's time to podcast. We turn that off. You ready?
Yeah.
Give us the clap then. Go. Yes. Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast.
We are back on the Don't Tell Mom podcast, episode 41.
Holy moly. 41
cow.
episodes with this jackass. I can't believe I made it this far.
We are slowly progressing apart from each other and getting away from each other.
We needed our space. Hang out with Cullen too much. I need my husband to come take over. Cory has a sunburn.
Oh, no. If y'all are new to our podcast, I am Cullen, and this is my sister, Britany.
Hey, I'm Britany.
We are the brother and sister duo where anything and everything goes.
Everything goes.
We just talk about crap.
Everything.
And I feel like I can't cuss with my wife sitting here next to me. We talk about all the shit. Ow!
Sorry.
I got a sunburn too.
It's weird. It's kind of weird being like over here. You being way over there, you know what I mean? I'm used to like us being over here.
Y'all
on the
usually
same,
sit like this.
We're like on the same team interrogating somebody instead.
Yeah, it's like, come at me, bro.
Come at me,
We got
bro.
a guest.
I
but,
love it.
No, we just figured we'd kind of change it up a little bit this week because we didn't have anything else to talk about.
It's not because y'all love us and you want us on your show.
Yeah, really.
We needed material.
Yeah, we got in late last night. Or night was it already? I feel like I told Katie this earlier. Like, yeah, it feels like we've already been home for a week. But
is that your baby?
No, that's the co-host.
Or is it my kid?
She's all right.
That was one of
Dang, all
the
these kids.
yeah. We got babies
Keep up with
everywhere.
all these kids.
I know, we get
So yeah, if y'all are tuning in, if y'all are wondering who these voices are, I didn't write y'all an intro like I wrote Michael Warren last week, but we can just throw something off the cuff here.
Can I say that was the best intro anyone's ever had? But he's the only one that's ever written songs for J-Lo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But to my left here, we have the notorious, the best looking, the sweetest, the hottest, the coolest, the kindest.
You mean to your right?
Co-host. And to my right, we have the only guy in Alabama that plays hockey.
Yeah.
No, but we have Katie here on my left. Yeah.
Hey.
The crowd goes wild.
And then to my right, Brittany's left, we have her better half.
Boo. I'm just kidding. I just gotta point out, Cullen, because this is really bothering me. But you got toothpaste on your face.
Oh, damn!
You were supposed to leave it.
I totally
for all that bad hair.
I thought about it like briefly, and then I said, you know what? This is Don't Tell Mom, and this is like a trick Mom taught me back in the day. Just when you get a bad bump, just throw some toothpaste on it. So then I was like, I'm just gonna leave it, and then I totally forgot about it again until you just mentioned it. So
okay.
Yeah.
We did that on purpose. We like intentionally didn't tell you about it so you look like a jackass on camera. But yeah, that's what you get for always making us look bad.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just figured we'd hop on here. We just got back from the beach, and I saw y'all just planted some flowers or no, I would not call them flowers.
Bushes.
Mm-hmm.
Bushes.
Yeah, it was bushes, right?
Bushes.
Yeah, that was the real deal.
Hedges or something.
Hedges.
Shrubs.
Yeah, we're trying to
Shrubs.
trying to keep the crazies out.
I saw you were on an excavator, and I was wondering, have you ever ridden on one of those, Cory? And how did you how did you get that? Now, I remember you told me about you can rent like a stump grinder one time. I was like, he got this from the stump grinder rental place.
You can rent any of that stuff. And I showed up to Home Depot to rent that thing thinking, buddy, to run through how to operate and everything else. It was just this skinny, young, nerdy white kid going, here you go.
That was it? Like, literally, you can just, like, rent one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Britany, I love it.
We should do that just for fun one day. Like, not even have anything to dig.
There goes
Man,
the yard.
It was pretty fun.
Did it take a long time to learn?
No, it was
Really?
pretty good. I use those, or I get to work around them sometimes, so I've got some experience. But
He wouldn't let me use it.
oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I
It
was
was way
pissed.
too dangerous. Let Britany out.
Yeah, right. This is child's play. Anybody could operate one of those things. You just didn't want me messing with it.
Well, it looks really good. What y'all did?
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Let me tell you why we're even doing this, okay? We got the lot next to our house, so we have like a bigger yard. Well, the HOA says we can't put a fence in. So,
He
not,
said, "Screw y'all."
yeah, well, I mean, they said you can plant anything you want except palm trees and, because,
No,
the
no
neighborhood.
palm trees, no willow trees.
No willow trees, no palm trees. So
Really?
we said, okay, well, the neighbor across the street from us, he has this little yappy dog. And he kept walking his dog across the street into the lot that he thinks, I guess, is just an empty lot. So he didn't know that we own that lot, you know? And he's walking his little dog over there to poop in our yard. And so we said, but we can't put a fence up. And so I said, well, we're going to put hedges up. So everybody's going to know this is our yard.
That's
Keep
so
your
smart,
dog out.
though.
I
know,
That's
right?
so smart.
And it looks like
Legit.
symmetrical. Yeah, like legit. Like
Yeah.
it's all lined up
It's like
perfectly.
gonna be a fence when they grow bigger.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first part looks legit, and then Corey got lazy, and so then you could tell like he was really like on it, and then it gets a little less and less every bush, but
Well, that is exciting. I was
know.
like, dang, that is a hard day's work. So that's why you got a sunburn?
The day after, but it got a little crooked there because when you're working on your own property, you get into the beers.
he's out there drinking beer on an excavator.
Oh, jeez. And you're worried about Britany driving it.
I
mean,
know,
come on.
right? I was seriously, I thought I was gonna die. I was bent over trying. He's like digging stuff up, and I'm trying to put the plants in or something. And I'm bent over, and he comes flying around with that excavator.
no.
Heads up.
I think, oh my gosh, like he could have killed me just now. So luckily, we survived the weekend and we got our bushes planted.
Maybe we shouldn't rent one of those.
I think we could do like some dance. That would be awesome. Like, do you know how much fun we would have and all the stuff we could do in the backyard? Mm-hmm. Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah, she's like, it's funny because Mom actually called me right before we came here, and she did the same thing. All she wanted to know about was the excavator. She's like, "How much was the excavator? How does it work?" So I expect to see all y'all's yards looking right then.
Well, okay, instead of jumping right into the excavator, let's back up a little bit. So,
Okay.
Katie has her own channel, Katie on the Flip Side, and she's the better half of Cullen and Katie vlogs.
Yes.
Yes.
And we just did an assumptions about us type video on her
Oh,
channel,
yeah.
so you'll have to go check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Corey does some woodworking. He does all the woodworking
All the woodworking.
and plays hockey.
Yeah.
And
It's a very Canadian.
That's it. That's my whole life.
I guess what tell us about anything you want to say about yourself
Yeah.
or about me?
Well, let's see. Where do you want me to start? I don't know. So I've had my channel. Actually, I started it when Gaines was 6 months old or something like that.
Yeah.
Like as a mom thing. And it started off as just like doing baby videos and baby updates and like what I have in my diaper bag and all that mom stuff. And then, kind of fell off the wagon a little bit after Brooks was born because Brooks
was born.
yeah. Yeah. And but so back in like September I came back with a whole new different thing and basically just I don't know. What'd you
It's
say?
all
It's evolved.
It's
It's
like,
evolved with you.
Inspirational lifestyle. Trust yourself. You got the merch on.
Yeah, I got the
Yeah,
merch. So just kind
Drinking
of
out
like
the mug.
I don't know, basically just changing my life and making a lot of different discoveries about myself and all kinds of stuff. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but I want to document all this and I don't want to like write it down in a journal or a diary or something. So I'm just going to
that's
put it
not how
out there
you
for
roll.
the world to see. Let's tell everybody how messed up my brain is. So I just kind of worked through that process and done a lot of different things.
It's been amazing though.
Yeah.
Watching your
I mean, you can tell though, like anybody
Body
that
and
knows
self.
you and
Yeah.
that watches you, you can tell that you've changed a lot, and since you started doing that again,
Yeah, it's been a lot of changes of like things that have been going on in my head for years, like my whole life, and stuff with our relationship that I don't know people necessarily knew was necessarily about our relationship when I started making the videos. Some like codependency stuff, and then I talked some about the addiction. My side of the spouse's side of the addiction situation and all that, and then. Also been doing a little Marie Kondo on there too. So cleaning out my life, cleaning out my brain, my closets, my heart, my relationship, all that.
That's awesome.
Tried to, get rid of Cullen, but that didn't work out. So he does spark joy now, so we're good.
Yeah, I wouldn't fit in the box that she was trying to pack me in.
Yeah, we can tell y'all have been just a lot like happier and healthier. And I even look at y'all's comments, when I watch your videos and all that everybody else can notice it too. So that's awesome.
Well, it's been a process. We're still working through things, but we're a little bit more on the same page than we were before. So
yes,
that's good. Well, so y'all have how long have y'all been married?
No. 11 years.
I was gonna let him answer.
Yeah.
I was like,
is this a trap?
Yeah.
Loaded question.
Yeah, it'll be 12 in May. So next month we'll be 12.
Yeah.
12 next month.
Oh, it's our magical anniversary. It's 12 years on the 12th.
Oh,
magical.
dang.
What are we gonna do?
That's like when you turn 25 if your birthday's on the 25th, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do something extra special then.
This is the first time I've heard about the magicals.
I just made it up. I don't know. It's not really going to be magical. It's fine.
It's be another day.
Yeah.
Tuesday. All right. Well, from old pros to, we're kind of still newlyweds, would you say? I mean, we've been married how long? 1 year?
15 months.
Let's see. 15 months.
That's it.
Seems like so much longer.
No, I was going to say it feels like a eternity.
I was about to say, how long did y'all know each other before you got married?
5 years, 4 years, something like that.
5
Yeah.
years.
So we've known each other a little longer than we didn't just jump right into it. But
No.
And now we get the little baby, and so we're kind of like in the beginning side of things. What advice do y'all have as old pro, married, gone through it, and back?
Two kids. If we're the ones to ask about this.
Well, I know Katie always says, don't ever forget the reason that you fell in love.
That's always my advice, is never forget the reasons why you first fell in love.
Okay.
Because a lot of times you get down the road and you're people change. And, hopefully you don't change so much that you just, don't get along anymore. But you kind of, have kids, and then you're a little bit different, and you mature or you don't mature or whatever might happen. But you just gotta remember that there's, the thing, it's almost weird how the things that you first fell in love with somebody for eventually start getting on your nerves.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember that, one of the things that caught my eye about you was that you're walking on your hands down the top of somebody's car at a party when we first met. Mm-hmm. Right now, I would probably be like, get off of that car. What are you doing?
Yeah. Look at this idiot. Yeah.
I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
No, but just those little things, and kind of just remembering that there's more to somebody than changing diapers and getting up in the middle of the night and all that.
Your
stuff.
turn. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what we're in it right now. I think my favorite the favorite advice that I've heard from somebody was an older lady, and she said they'd been married 50 years or something. She said her best advice was to maintain your individuality. So whatever makes you keep being you and doing you, and don't get lost in somebody else to where you don't have your own identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that goes a lot into the codependency stuff and some of the stuff that I talked about on my channel too, and realizing how your brain works, and how when you are together so much, especially for us when we work together, we obviously live together, but spend so much time together that everything crosses over, and you got to remember that his decisions aren't always my decisions, and you know, keeping it separate. So
compromise.
Yeah, it's what the living the dream life or whatever can quickly turn into something you don't dream
a nightmare.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say that, but something you don't dream about. If you don't maintain that individuality or have your I don't know.
Yourself.
Your man cave here and there.
Yeah,
Or,
it's. I guess I don't know.
Your
I think
podcast, your channel. Like we
Yeah.
have our individual things that
Yeah.
we're passionate
Well, and I think
about.
a lot of it's like the little things, like because you think about the whole, like you mentioned, like the big things, like my channel and this and that. But I think it's just remembering that just because like I don't like the shirt that he always wears, it's fine. Like he wears it, and that's there's just little things throughout the day that can overtake your like feeling like you need to both like the same stuff, and you need to, I don't know. So I mean, obviously the big things too, but lots of little stuff too.
Yeah. What do you think, babe?
Whatever you want.
I got him trained right.
There's that individuality.
There's that 1 year marriage thing coming in for y'all strong.
I think that we're like 1 year going on 20 though.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and y'all, you know how y'all live together, work together, and all that stuff, so you're around each other all the time. Well, we aren't. Like Cory will go, and he has to travel sometimes for work and things like that, and so we're not used to being around each other all the time. But since we had her,
We don't fight. We don't fight anymore.
No.
Like, it's been a long time since we've had a fight.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
And,
I mean, come on.
I remember
Yeah.
Britany saying
Don't
that,
go
like,
home.
whenever she's like, ever since we got pregnant and found out the, wonderful news, it's just like something switched, or y'all just have
the
like
petty
been on cloud
shit
nine.
doesn't
Oh,
matter
that's nice.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's the petty stuff. that-
Okay, so teach us how to make that happen.
well,
How do you not fight
She's
anymore?
yelling. You don't get your back up when Brittany's yelling. You just let it go in one ear, out the other, and you say, "You're right. I'm sorry," and then she drops it, and you just walk away.
exactly.
Can you write that down? Like slide it over
when
this
he
way.
says you just walk away, go to the store, rent an excavator.
Try to knock her out with it. It didn't work.
Yeah, come home with a CNC that we can't afford and say, "Look what I got you, babe." I'm
you
watching
go.
your brother. It's funny that what you decided to say was that we never fight. When all I was thinking about was that I was going to sit here and talk shit about how you never put anything up in the refrigerator, and then I want to kill you.
Whenever you're yelling at me, I just say, "You're right. I'm sorry," and I walk
And he
away.
doesn't do it again.
Because I wasn't listening.
You rinse your dish off. Why can't you rinse your dishes off?
Why can't you ever turn any of the lights off or the TV off?
That's the thing. But you say you're sorry and then you don't do it again.
Exactly.
What was the thing we just
the
argued about
laundry,
today?
about putting it in the kids' laundry. Oh no,
Oh, that's a whole
what
different
the-
thing. No,
yeah.
there was. This is the little things. Like I'm saying,
What?
like the kids are like gotta eat dinner and they're like getting crazy because they, this is kind of a random little parent thing, but we save the fruit till the end of the meal,
'Cause it's
or
the
else
dessert.
that's all they'll eat.
Yeah.
They'll like eat all the fruit. So we saved the fruit till the end. We knew y'all were coming tonight. Brooks was like, "I'm all done." I was like, "Hang on, you hadn't had your fruit. Do you want your fruit?" "Yeah, I want my fruit." And so I'm like, "Cullen, come on with the fruit." Like he's doing the
Yeah.
fruit, and he's standing over there like chopping up strawberries. And I'm like, every night I tell you can just hand them to him. Like they know how to eat the green part off of them. And he's got them cut in like little tiny pieces. I'm like, just run it under some water and hand it to him.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, "Well, I'm just trying." I'm like, "I've told you this like 5 times."
And he doesn't listen.
Like I'm not like trying to be mad or anything. I'm just saying like they're about to jump out of their seats and your sister's about to be here. We need to get them to bed.
need to go, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But it's just those little things like I'm like
You
just
see things
please
from two different points of
remind
view.
me to not tell you every
Yeah.
single day.
Well, it's just one of those things where I've heard it 500 times, but like, well, because it's just habit. It's like a habit of. It's like a ingrained, habitual, like a hereditary.
Yeah, it's habit. Yeah.
You're like Brooks. You just don't like you have to get in trouble for something like 10 times before you realize, oh shoot.
I'm like
yeah,
Dad. Like you know how he always had to get his meal prepped and
10 minutes to cut some strawberries.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is even for the kids. They're only gonna eat like 2 of the strawberries anyway, and I'm like doing like origami with them.
Literally. I'm like, here, give them to me in my hand. And he's like, hang on, I have bowls for him. I'm like, just give them to
They
me. I'll
don't
put them
need
on
a
the
bowl.
table. They're going to be gone in a minute now. No, but it's very helpful and I appreciate it. I'm just thinking of an example.
Is that the worst?
Yeah.
Is that the worst? Sometimes I think like you and me probably do the same things just because like the rinsing of the dishes, that's a big one for me because our dad was always like, rinse your dish. You know what I mean? Like, and he would get us over. He's such a sarcastic person. He would get us over, and he'd like line us up and make this big production about, kids, I got something to show you, y'all. And he'd come line up in front of the dishwasher, you know. And he'd line us up, and then he'd just, without saying a word, he'd take the dish, he'd rinse it off into the sink real hard, and then he'd put it in the dishwasher, and then look at us and go, you know, like, what? Why is that so hard? Like, you know, and Cory does not know how to rinse a dish.
Well, my dad would say, my dad would say all the time is, you don't wash the dishes before you wash the dishes.
Yeah.
You know, so whose dad's right?
My dad's right.
My dad's right.
Well, it's like it's 3 to 4 here because like my dad would also get like the scrubby brush and the Dawn and
Your
like
dad has no
wash the
wash the
dishes,
dish,
and
yeah.
then so I'm like on this end, y'all are in the middle, and Cory's on this end. So
Okay.
See, if I'm going to do that, I told Britany, I'm like, then we're just going to wash the damn dishes and put them away and screw the dishwasher.
Yeah. Because if you're getting that deep into it, then
No.
why even have a dishwasher?
Right.
Let me
see
give
that too.
everybody a lesson in proper
No,
dishwasher
I come over here
etiquette.
and loaded the dishwasher full of dirty dishes, and they all came out spotless. And you were like, wow, that really works.
Cory did
No.
change my life actually
Yeah.
in this way because it was Thanksgiving and we had all eaten a delicious dinner and then he starts just trying to clean up the kitchen and I'm like getting a little anxious because I'm like, why are you just putting those in there with all that food on there?
Yeah, he's just dumping them in there like literally doesn't even they don't even stop at the sink for
No.
they just
Like,
go
there's-
straight from table to dishwasher.
Yeah.
Marshmallows on the casserole dish still from the
Exactly.
sweet potato casserole.
Yes.
Have you
yes.
never watched the commercials?
But we washed them and they came out clean. So I was like, oh, I don't have to wash them before I wash
Yeah,
them.
well, the thing is that you do. You do have to wash it before. The proper way to do it is right when you get done eating, you go and rinse it off while it's still wet on your plate.
Yes.
You can't let it sit out for an hour and get all crusty and then try to rinse it off and nothing comes off because it's already stuck on there. You wash off immediately after. But here's the thing. Cory will eat a full meal and he will take everything that we own. He will take everything we own out of the refrigerator and he'll set it on the counter. And he will make it a full meal. And then he gets done. He wipes his face with his one little towel and he drops the mic and he's fucking out.
That is not true.
He leaves the house.
That's like
Not true. That is not true. That isn't even remotely true.
He does not know how to, these are things that need to go back in the refrigerator or they will ruin.
that's
I did
left
that
ketchup
today.
out for 15 minutes and Britany thinks that.
that drives me. See, that's another thing. Like that drives me crazy with Katie too. Like the way she cooks.
Yeah.
The way she cooks, I'm just like sitting there like I'm very appreciative of your cooking and your food, but like put the stuff up as you go. Like
Yeah.
you gotta wait.
Yes.
Like it's
Clean
driving
as
me
you go.
crazy.
Brittany's done cooking. I look over the stove is still on, like there's an inferno of flames coming out of it.
The stove was
and then
still
the
on tonight.
the fan above is on full blast. We're sitting there trying to. You ever heard that thing? And I'm like, can we turn that fan off? She's like, it's kind of smoky in here. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well,
See, it's these little things that you know.
sometimes though I'm so ready to eat that I'm just like, get this, hurry. Like even
Yeah.
today I was like made a sandwich or something and like everything was still out. There was like mustard squirted on the counter and I was just like, I gotta eat this right now.
Yeah.
I cannot. But Cullen cleans it up. So like the
It needs
opposite.
to be clean.
Cleans
Yeah.
it all up. Then he comes over and he gets his little sandwich and like makes sure that the lettuce is perfectly squared up with the thing, and then it has to be perfectly on the plate, and then you got to cut it.
It's
the
a
right way.
relationship with food.
Yeah.
It's a
And
relationship.
it's
It
like-
makes it taste better, and I'm still done before you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a joke because
And it's stress free.
he won't start
Right.
until everything is just perfect. But it's like it's kind of cute because like you got to get it all. Like his plate looks like it's on like whatever that
Yeah.
show is. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Chef
some
Ramsay or
cooking
something.
show, yeah.
Like he has it all perfect, and then I'm like almost done with mine. I've got like 5 bites left, and then by the time I get done, he's already done.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
just
Scarfs it down.
Yeah.
Well, because I've waited so long to eat that I'm just starving.
Yeah, because you heard.
My food's like ice cold, but the kitchen's clean.
Yeah. At least you can enjoy it in peace without the anxiety of knowing you have to go wash dishes
Well,
afterwards.
that's the
yeah.
thing.
You
It's like-
clean as you go. Like
Yeah.
you guys were at us the night when we got married. I cooked a huge feast, and before we even had the one bite, you look in the kitchen spotless.
That was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I
You
was
know?
like, how?
Britany makes toast, and it is a write-off.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah.
That's so not true. You're so full of shit.
Well, because it just is like I know I'm going to be miserable when I get done eating and like not want to do the kitchen when I'm done. You know, it's like
You just throw your dishes in the sink
so
and
you
walk
just,
away.
Yeah, and then you're done.
I like to sit there for a minute or 17, and then I'll clean it up after I eat.
I can't do
after a
that.
while.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's these little things that I think, we just gotta. If we can make it through these little things, I
That's
think
what I was
it'll
about
be
to say.
okay.
It's just crazy how we like all these different ways to load a dishwasher, or clean the kitchen, but we're all married to somebody opposite, or it's just.
Well, but then you got to like learn to appreciate those things that get on your nerves. Like find some way that it's like an endearing trait of some sort somehow. I don't know how, but like I don't know.
No, that should
Like I'm like trying to make it sound good. Like maybe that should be why you love each other.
Here's a good one though. It's like, what do you with things like that, with the dishes or with the laundry or just anything, just your normal everyday. This is my person and this is how they do things kind of stuff. Like when it comes to kids. She ain't doing that. She's rinsing her damn dishes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing, though. What happens when, like, y'all don't agree, and one of you is like, you don't have to rinse the dish, and the other one's like, you better rinse that dish.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
What
Yeah.
you gonna do? I don't know. There's only been a few things where
we've had to learn to like. You have to be on the same team, or else they'll run all over you. And the times they run all over you is way more worse as parents than disagreeing, or it's just like, okay,
disagreeing with you.
I'm just going to concede to this, and they can do it your way.
So so you
the
have a
most
way
part.
set in stone that this is how it's done.
Yeah.
Set
And
the
I
rules.
guess you kind of like part of my thought too has been you go with maybe the person who sad. The person who feels like they have the biggest reason for something. Like you feel like the dish really needs to get washed, and Corey's like, it's fine. You kind of go with not the stricter person, but the person who is really going to be bothered
Makes
if
sense.
it's not.
And then we just go to paper plates and not deal with any of it.
Yeah, that too.
Right? I love some paper plates.
That too, yeah.
The other day, seriously though, and I'm going to say this and then I'll be done with it. But
How long have we been talking about dishes?
I'm just saying.
Welcome to marriage.
You tell what's on my mind. But Corey literally rearranged the entire dishwasher, screaming and cussing me about how I loaded it wrong, just to put it back exactly like I had it.
Oh,
No, yeah, all he did was turn the plates from going this way to turn them to going that way. I mean, it was
Down.
ridiculous, but yeah, anyway, I love him. We've made it a year and a half so far, so we're doing okay.
And a baby.
And a baby.
And you're still
And a
good. You're
baby.
still good. Better than before even.
Well, so
That's it.
I was I saw your video on y'all's channel, the Southern Flower Maple Leaves.
Wait, what's it called?
The Southern Flower Maple
Fried.
Leaves. About postpartum, and that was what I was going to kind of lead into next, as far as a baby and all that.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't know.
I don't think that it's postpartum, like in the sense
Like not
of-
postpartum depression.
Not depression, right?
But just in general after the baby.
Like
Oh my
your
gosh, those hormones. I was
are,
like crying with you.
Oh my
'cause
god!
like,
I was
oh
watching
my
this, and I was having, and that's what I was going to ask Corey is like, have you? Because I think guys can
Have it
have some
too.
type
No, they
of like.
can. Yeah.
Baby blues.
Yeah, just I mean, we were talking about with Michael Warren last week, how I'd put his, always be my baby to the songs, and I was
Yeah.
just bawling in my
Crying.
editing and stuff, and I'm like, why am I like this? But it's like, your baby is your baby. Oh, she's sitting back
Bless
here,
her.
getting a little antsy.
It's
But,
okay. I'll go get her.
She needs to
just
be
a
changed.
little co-host.
Yeah, I don't know if Corey's got any or not. Have you?
Have you had any like
Or just like emotional surges.
like where you're just sitting there and all of a sudden you're in tears for no reason, or you're just like looking at your daughter, and especially girls. I remember Gaines, golly, just pulling at my heartstrings. Just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
There's been a couple times where I'm sitting there just hanging out, and you're just like, you never thought you could feel that way about anything.
Isn't that
you know?
so weird to try
But
to
it-
even explain?
But sadness and stuff like that, no. There's been a few times when she'll get that ear-piercing scream,
Oh yeah.
and she doesn't understand you, obviously, and she's just screaming. You're getting it ready. You're almost there to give her what she needs, and
It's not fast enough.
You just want to turn and say, "Shut up!" But you can't.
Yeah.
I was about to say, where you go in the route of like, and then it breaks your heart, or then you're like, if you don't shut up.
You're like, I'm doing it. It's right here. 10 seconds.
Do you not see me getting it ready for you?
But obviously,
Yes.
you're not going to yell at a baby.
No.
It's just like, I'm doing it.
Not till they're at least a few more months old. Yeah, just give them a couple months. Oh
But
my
yeah.
gosh, look at her hair turning like blonde.
Yeah,
Since
I know.
I
Well,
saw her.
my hair was blonde. Corey's was blonde. Annie's was blonde. I don't know if yours was.
His
Cullen.
was blonde.
Mine was a
yeah.
little bit, yeah.
Not as
We
much
were
as Annie's,
kids.
but yeah.
Hey, good morning.
I'm excited for. We've kind of talked about this with Corey. Him taking Brooks and getting him on the ice.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, that'll be
Yep,
fun.
I looked into all
Golly.
that too. We'll talk about that after.
yeah. I need to get on that. That would
Wouldn't
be
it be
hilarious.
so cute seeing Brooks out there with like a little hockey outfit on
my
and
God.
like a little?
Totally.
I love that.
He
But
already
that's
like.
totally not related to their baby.
No, I was talking
But, yeah.
about just like I don't know.
Yeah.
Different subject. I don't
Yeah,
know.
squirrel.
Oh,
He'd be dropping the
squirrel.
gloves for sure. He'd be getting into the fights.
Yes.
Yeah, he would be swinging.
Okay, so I think you might have said this in your video, but and you talked about a couple things, but like for anybody who might be watching this, like pregnant or something, what's something that you've just been like, I had no idea this was coming, or like,
I don't know. Like, I think I got fair warning for a lot of stuff. I just feel like my emotional turmoil. You know what I mean? Just like like when she's crying and she won't stop crying, and I'm just like, oh my God, what can I do to make you feel better? And things like that. It's just the emotional. I just didn't think I was going to be so emotional. You know what I mean? Like, we're pretty just chill. And I think mom's kind of like this too. Pretty chill, just like realistic people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't expect to be so. It's like overwhelming, like how much I feel. Like whether it be love for her or frustration because I don't know what's going on, or feeling like I don't know. Like, I'm not cut out for it. Like, I don't know what's best for her. Like, things like that. Things that just go through your mind because now you've got this little baby that you're responsible for, and you just don't want to mess it up. You know? Like, that's the biggest thing.
but you do. I mean, you do know what's best for her, even when you think you don't. I know those feelings. It's just like, it's awful, but it's all of a sudden like you basically, I remember the feeling of just like, I am literally responsible for everything she does. And I remember telling Cullen when I went back to work, because I went back to work for like a couple months after Gaines was born, and I was like, I can't think about work. Like, I literally know in my head, running through my head is the exact last time that she pooped, the last time she ate, how long she ate for, how long she slept for, how long she slept last night, which side she rolls over to. Like, I mean, literally there's just so many things that you're like, I'm solely responsible for this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just in my head, and I was like, I've got to keep track of all this, and nobody else will if I don't,
Yeah, right.
So it's
Shout out to all those
overwhelming.
working moms that
Right? Or the single moms. Like, how the hell does somebody do this
Yeah.
without somebody else? Like, Corey's been home for the last couple months, like before, waiting on me to go into labor. And then after she got home, he made sure that he was going to have like a month off work, which is awesome.
Yeah, totally.
But now he's going back to work, and it's like stress. I'm like panicking, like, oh my God, what if something happens and you're not here to help me, or what,
I
because
just said that to Katie today.
you always got to
about that.
check each other, like, babe, should I do this? Is this
Yeah.
right? And just to get somebody else's opinion, even though I know he doesn't know what the hell he's doing either. But at least if we're in it together, if we both agree that this is what we should do,
It's cool how fast you learn things too.
Yeah.
Like when with Brooke start learning to talk in Gaines when she was younger, learning to talk, and you guys knew exactly what she was saying, but also saying to me.
Yeah.
She'll make a noise, and I'll say, "Oh, she needs to go. It needs her diiper change." And Brittany's going, "No, she doesn't." I said, "I bet you it is."
Yeah.
Tell
That's her cry.
Yeah, because that
That is
whole thing
so
of
weird.
like you don't realize that
Yeah.
space in your brain is being like consumed by you knowing these things about your baby.
Yeah.
It's
Or
just
even,
crazy.
she'll be laying in her her, I don't know, bouncer or whatever, and she'll moan, and so you need to be turned a little bit. And so you just kind of rotate her on her other side, and she's fine now.
Yeah, Cory the baby whisperer.
Yeah. She was
He's like,
screaming yesterday.
I heard what you said.
Yeah, he's been so good with her, and like, I don't know, he's probably changed more diapers than I have for real, but...
You know what? I get lucky, though. I probably change 80% of the diapers, and...
80's a little stretching. 80.
I was gonna say you're lucky.
I think I'm still in single digits for poop diapers, though.
Yeah, I get all the shitty diapers. It's like foreshadowing for our future.
There's a lot less poop than I thought.
Dad gets all the fun times.
Knock on
Mom
wood.
gets all the shit.
Yeah, Cullen didn't
I wouldn't say
change.
the pee are fun times, but
He didn't change poop diapers until Brooks, like literally, and until he was like 6 months old. When I was like, "You're gonna have to get over this because you're gonna change poop diapers."
What, were you just like grossed out by it?
Yeah.
Yes, he would
Like,
literally,
I would
and I think
gag.
it was a little exaggeration to avoid it. He would be like puking almost, like, ooh, I'm like, it's like breast milk poop. It doesn't even smell when they're like when they're infants.
I don't know. Hers smells pretty bad. Maybe yours didn't. She farts like a grown man.
But now it's so crazy because now something would happen with them, and I'm just like, get in there. Well, not necessarily, but there's some things. Like Brooks had an accident in the bathtub the other day, and I didn't even think twice about it. I was just
You just grab it with your hand.
yeah. Just like,
But
fish it out.
you would have called me
Yeah,
and been like, hey, what do I don't? He pooped in the bathtub.
Yeah, you gotta do something about it.
I'll wash him off and I'll take him. It's just I don't even know. Yeah, but so you're lucky that he changes diapers, even if it's not the poop ones.
Yeah, well, it is getting better as far as like the whole postpartum thing. It's not like I really had a postpartum depression or anything like that. Like I know that that's a very serious thing, that a lot of women go through. And luckily, I haven't been like, oh my gosh, I want to, hurt or you know what I mean, like anything crazy, but. It's just been like sad or like worried and anxious and just baby blues kind of stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of hard like coping with the fact that everything we do from now on is just going to be a little harder.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little harder to go to the grocery
And
store.
you're going to be a little distracted while you're trying to like do a podcast and she's buzzing.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder.
Does she need her Bessie?
I got it right here.
I will say though, like it's so crazy how the babies and the kids like take you back to like how we talked about like a couple podcasts ago, but like the 20s. I did my 20s, and like you did your little middle school years and elementary school, but like when you have the kids, it's just like you're a kid again. Are you gonna relive that in your head with them essentially, and like get into their little mindset?
Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness!
Little Sophia.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
She is adorable. If y'all haven't seen her on Instagram or any of the social media platforms, she has literally changed in the past week.
We've been going, and she's like a new person.
Britany said she's like 10 pounds heavier every day, it seems, and she's a eating fool. She just constantly eating all the food.
I think so what you're saying about like it taking you back to when you're a kid and all this stuff, I think that was one of the hardest parts about when they were a newborn, because you are thinking in your head all this stuff of like, oh, my kid, and we're gonna bond, and we were like, let's go to the pumpkin patch, and she doesn't care about pumpkins, she's like a month old, and we're just like, I mean, it was still fun, like I'm not saying it wasn't fun, but you're anticipating them doing all this stuff, and you like want them to grow up, and you want to do all this, but then you want them to stay little, and then it's a process of like, I think we're just now to the point of like what we thought of when we thought of having kids.
Yeah. Because there's those days or those times where I'll like go buy her a kayak or something, like not realizing that she's not going to even remember this, then a year or two goes by and you get her a kayak and it's like, dang, I should have waited 2 whole years to even get her that toy or whatever it was, instead of like jumping the gun just because you were excited to try to get her to think like that, or I don't know, it's crazy. Well, cool, this has been fun. Britany, Oh, she needed.
I'm
was
pretty
it a
sure
poopy?
Cory said that right when she
Or even picked her the thing.
Oh yeah, he looked over at her and was like, "I think she needs to be changed."
Leave it to the dad. Leave it to the dad. No, I was gonna say. Oh, sorry. Are we running out of time here?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. No, I was thinking about when Britany was talking about the baby blues and all the stuff, and like, you know, not having the thoughts of like harm and all that. And I know people would ask me after games, they're like, you're not sad? Or I was like, no, I don't think. I mean, and I wasn't after games. It was I think that's how I knew with Brooks when things were different, because after games, people would ask, and I was like, I'm just not sad. Like, I'm not at all.
Happy. Yeah,
I'm fine.
Great.
I'm fine. I mean, I was like emotional, like you said. I would cry over everything. It's almost like the beginning of pregnancy again, when you're like crying over TV commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, everything makes you cry. But I never, even with Brooks having postpartum depression, never had like the thoughts of harming myself or harming the baby or whatever. It was more of just like loss of interest in things.
Like you don't even care that they're
like didn't care about anybody. I mean, I did care that he was crying. It wasn't. I don't know. It was a different feeling of like I just didn't care about other people. Like I cared about my baby, but I didn't care about anybody else.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, all I've heard is that like you won't love your baby, you won't want to take care of your baby. And I was like, I want to take care of my baby. That's fine. I just don't care about anybody else, and didn't care about doing anything for myself or for anybody, or which just wasn't like me.
Right,
you know?
right.
Just letting yourself go, kind of
right,
thing.
right. Letting myself go, and I'd have like, you know, people, it was like somebody's birthday or somebody's something, and I was just like, whatever. I remember it was Gaines' second birthday, and it was coming up that week, and I've always been like, oh, let's get her this, and like, this is going to be fun, and a party, and he was like, you haven't like, have you like gotten her a gift or anything? I was like, no. He was like, I've literally like bought all the presents and planned the party, and you know, I just didn't care.
Yeah. I remember that. That was like a weird time in our life and in relationship too. And I think it's easier for the husband or the spouse to go into that dark place in a different place or whatever as well. And that's probably, and we were talking about that earlier about like Marie Kondoing the whole house and getting everything cleared out and everything, and how just like we're in a total different place versus if you think about like how cluttered and junked up our old house was. And
this house is still cluttered, but we're working through it.
But
and
like
it bothers
we
us.
were saying how like we could live in the same house that we were living in our mindset today versus what it was because of kids. Kids just mess you up.
right?
I don't know. Like when I look, I've never had any kind of, I don't know. All I do when I look at her is my heart like wants to bust. I love her so much. Like even her little cries and her whimpers and her everything. It's just like, oh my gosh, dude! I've never had so much love for anything in my life, you know. And so it's obviously that it's scary that you're gonna mess it up, you know.
Right. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people talk about, as far as like the postpartum emotions and stuff, talk about postpartum depression, but postpartum anxiety is like a real thing too that I didn't know a whole lot about, but people like there's a girl that I know that was like terrified and could not walk down the stairs while she was holding her baby because she was so afraid she was going to fall down the stairs.
Yes.
And like, I mean, she had never had that problem before, and I was like, oh, I never even thought about that. But when you've got anxiety, it's like these irrational fears.
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, that whole
Or like
stair
sleeping.
situation is, I go through that. Like, I don't want to go upstairs with her or downstairs or anything. I'll just like, wait till Cory comes home. And then he can watch her while I go upstairs and do this. Because I don't want to have her in my arms and then trip and fall. Like, I was carrying her from just one room on the main level to the other in one of those little bouncy things. I was just picking up the whole bouncy thing, and I'm like, ooh, we're on a spaceship, you know. And I'm taking her from this room to the other, and like, in my mind, I'm thinking, dang, these floors are too slippery, you know. I need to start wearing the rubber socks, or you know, like these are, like, it's too slippery. Because what if I fell and then fell on top of her, on top of this thing, and crushed her, and you know what I mean? It's like all this shit goes through your mind, and I don't know.
You've probably never thought about in your life before.
Right.
I mean, like nothing like that. I never had as much anxiety as I did until, and I didn't even realize with Gaines, I did have some major anxiety. Like I literally couldn't go longer than 5 minutes without looking at the monitor and making sure she was still breathing.
Yeah.
Like, I had to have it next to, well, and obviously still I'm like worried about it. I'm like, what if they wake up?
You have
What
to
if
have
they
like
wake up?
3 monitors in there. Like we still do. Like we have a noise one, a video one, and then our Nest Cam.
Well, now it's
security
more
cameras.
like I don't want them to be freaked out up there if I don't hear them when they wake up. But when she was like this little, I literally would like zoom it in, make sure she's breathing, and then I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it would.
And then
I
5
couldn't
minutes
take
later.
a whole shower without
Yeah.
checking the monitor, making sure she was breathing. You know, it wasn't even like if she was crying. If she's crying, that's great because she's breathing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That slide gives me anxiety.
Yeah, the slide.
Does it?
Yeah, that's a slide of death.
It really is. And they've gotten to where they're like, they climb up it to go to bed. And I'm like, I still like see them just slipping and falling, and I'm just, oh God, I don't know. But we're gonna put like a rope on it and like,
Stick a rope on it so you can grab.
make it a little bit
hold of
easier for
something,
them to fall smoother.
Scary when somebody else's kid comes over here and they're like, ooh, a slide, and before you can say stop, they're on their butt, and you're like, oh, there went your butt. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Sorry.
It was really
There's a
bad.
right way to do that.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I think being a parent is kind of like your do-over, like as far as like living vicariously through your kids. Like how much would we have loved that freaking slide when we were kids? I mean, we tried everything. We got everything trying to go down the stairs. I mean, we did everything to try to go down the stairs in a trunk, on a cardboard box. I mean, we did it all.
That's why you got to go rent an excavator.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like adult toys. Well, like for her, I was telling Cory, I said, I want her room to be freaking awesome. I want like jungle gym across the ceiling and you know what I mean? And all this stuff. And then you think, okay, well, that's just setting them up to break a leg, you know?
Or be more adventurous and creative.
Oh, yeah. It depends on how you look at it.
That way too.
Bones can be fixed.
Yeah.
Bones can be fixed. I will say that one of the biggest things are weird. Like when you see those gender reveals and the dads are always like, dang it, I wanted a boy, and and they're all pissed. But like once you have that girl and you're like, who cared? Like, why was I so frustrated about this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you do have the boy the second time and you're like, dang, I still want another girl after this, baby.
Cory's really excited about having girls, aren't you, babe?
After the first few times I changed her and she'd start peeing as soon as I take the diaper, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad this is not a boy.
Yeah, she pees on you.
That'd be all in your face.
Yeah, she pees on you a lot. I think that it's cute that you like are excited to have more girls. You're like, I'd be fine with another girl. I mean,
Yes.
I kind of want to have another girl, like with her, just because I want the sisters to be close, and then maybe we can have 2 boys after or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're gonna start trying here soon. So.
Dang, so y'all are
seriously?
you're still on the 4 or 5
Oh
kids?
yeah, see, she's grown what not 10 pounds, probably 2 pounds, and I'm like, oh, I miss her, the little baby that she used to be. But yeah, we're talking maybe 6 months. We'll start trying. Less than.
Oh man,
Have you
That's
been to
good,
that
though.
6-week appointment yet?
No. But that's like next. It's the 15th, right? So as soon as we go to that, then it's game on.
When was it with Gaines? It was like
It was earlier
she
than
was
that, wasn't it?
about 8 months, 7. No, she was about 6 months old when we decided we started trying again. Then we got
Did
to
it
like
take you a
9
long
months.
time?
Well, it had been like 3 months, and I think we were like trying, not trying. You know, we were like, let's just kind of like try to,
That's when
time it
it
right.
happened, yeah.
If maybe, like we wanted to get pregnant again because we'd had 2 miscarriages before. We didn't know what happened.
Right.
And
what
after
if you can't? Yeah.
right.
It takes a long time. Yeah.
And I think it was after like 3 or 4 months. Well, it would have been a little bit longer than that. 3 or 4 months, we were just like, all right, whatever. If it happens, it happens. So we're going to stop like putting pressure on ourselves.
Right.
And then it was like, okay, actually, like now I think she had turned a year old. She's starting to get a little more like, mobile and all this stuff. And we're like, let's just not try again right now. And that's when I got pregnant with Brooks.
Yeah, that's how it happens,
yeah,
right?
she
As
was
soon as you say
13.
I'm not going to try.
Yeah, she was 13, 14 months old when I found out I was pregnant with Brooks.
Yeah.
So
Well, we have before time wears down, we have some news for y'all, and we didn't want to tell you. I know we were upstairs and we were talking about something. I wanted to tell y'all we were upstairs. So for everybody else that's listening, we were talking about like different houses and looking at houses and property. And me and Cory really love to look at different houses all the time, and we're always looking for like the next best thing, you know. Last week we were going to remodel this $100,000 house, you know, down in the bad part of town. We're going to live there forever. But for real though, we actually got an offer for his job to move to Minnesota.
No, you can't.
It's kind of, well, yeah. He actually called today and told him that we're going to take it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
It's April Fool's. I'm not believing any of this shit. I knew it.
Oh
I was
my
like, wait
God.
a minute. Wait a minute.
Y'all are crazy.
I
Don't
even
do
said-
that to me. I about cried.
No,
I was like, no.
I had to process it. I was like going through all the logistics, and then I was like, wait a minute. Remember last night in bed, Katie? I said, whatever somebody says tomorrow, do not believe them.
See, I thought that it's so late in the day that y'all would have like forgot about it. Like everybody that tried to get you's already got you, and then it was over.
That's
and
funny.
mentally in your head, because Cory on the way here, he was like, "There's no way. It's been all day. They're gonna know it's April Fools." I was like, "What can we say? What do we got to come up with something? We got to at least
That's
try."
funny. I was like, what are y'all talking
For a
about?
second though, we got y'all.
Yeah, for a second.
I could tell you.
Well, I was believing you until you said, and we're going to take it. And then I was like, no, you wouldn't do that. Just like the day they offered it to you. Come on. You would have to discuss
Dang,
this.
well,
and I think once I heard Minnesota too, because I was thinking like if you'd have said back home to Canada or something, I would have been more like that would have been a little
close
more
enough.
believable. Yeah.
I
but
was thinking how I hadn't heard many April Fool's things today at all.
I hadn't either.
hey, we had to try. Y'all
Yeah,
saw it
I
here,
appreciate
folks. We
it.
had to try. We had to try to get you. Cory was like, "They're never going to believe it." I was like, just stick with the story, Cory.
I had to drive a guy to the airport this afternoon
Oh yeah.
because the job site we're working on requires everyone to do a drug test. So they flew in from Minnesota last night, got to this site this morning, did their drug tests, and the
But
one
he
guy comes
failed.
out and he goes, "I failed."
Oh my
And the guys are like, "Oh, good one." He's like starting to cry. He's like, "No, really?"
It's not an April Fool's joke.
They're looking at him like, "Oh man, that sucks."
You were in big
I had,
trouble.
to I had to drive him to the
Dang.
airport, and you could see him trying to talk. I'm like, "It's no big deal," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's no big deal." In my mind, going, "You're gonna get fired as soon as you get back."
They
April
spent,
Fool's to him.
yeah, they spent all that money flying that guy down here to do a job,
Golly.
and then he failed before he
Oh
could do
my
it. Yeah.
god!
It was just funny. Oh, good one. April Fool's. Like,
No,
not kidding.
really. What's the best one? What's y'all's best April Fools that you've done or you've heard or whatever?
Oh my gosh!
I actually hate April Fools. So.
You do?
Well, this isn't a joke, but stand up and let's show them. I'm
Shut
just
up.
kidding.
my
No. That's one of the things that she doesn't like is like when you get the pregnancy jokes or
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I mean, I just don't like. I get so uncomfortable, like making people feel awkward or like pranking them.
yeah.
Now, like y'all's was like obviously we didn't feel super awkward, but I remember you called me. I think we had just been dating, maybe not even a year or something.
Like broke up with you?
And no, he called and told me he was like in a car accident or something, and like I was like, Cullen, that is just not even funny. Like, don't make an April Fool's joke about that because I got all upset about it.
Oh no, I think I took like a picture with
No,
the,
I remember where I
Was it something like that?
No, we didn't have cell phones with pictures back then. It was like back old school. Like you called me and I was down at the river in Tuscaloosa, like at that little river walk thing. Doing homework with somebody. I don't know. I was in college, studying.
Yeah, toyed with your emotions, like made you cry. and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
he
pretty
let
mean.
me go pretty far into it too,
Yeah.
and like told me the whole story of like what had happened, and then he's like April Fools, and I was so
Yeah, I think ever since then I was like, okay, I can't do that again.
yeah, don't do that. I do not mess around with jokes.
I did one to Dad that was really good. I
yeah.
stopped at the BP, and I was like in high school or right out of high. I think it was still in high school. I was driving the pink Cavalier
I think I remember
with flames down the side. I'd stuck stickers on the side of it with flames. But I had this little bright pink Chevy Cavalier car, and I had called. And I remember pulling into the gas station, and there was a cop, and he was coming out, and I was like, excuse me, sir, will you please help me prank my dad? It's April Fool's or whatever. So we called, and this is right down the street from the house. I called my dad and let the police officer talk to my dad instead of me. And he was saying that, is this, how or whatever. He said yes, and you can hear, and I can like hear Dad on the phone because I'm like standing there with the cop like, and it was just the coolest cop for doing this for me, for like pranking my dad. But he was like straight up, sir, we have your daughter in custody. We're gonna need you to come down here. You know what I mean? God. Like all that. Like she got arrested, and then he hands me the phone and April Fool's, and Dad was like, "You got me. That was probably the best one.
That was probably.
He was
good.
probably relieved. Like, oh dang, that was.
I remember
real.
Mom. Dad was just starting his business journey or whatever for the umbrella-based surrounds, where he was doing those, I think. And he was just getting the business kicked off the ground, and he was all optimistic about it. And Mom called in and acted like some hi, my name's Betty from Wilburn, Alabama. I need to place an order for 5,000 umbrella bases, and I need them by next weekend. And Dad's like,
I can just see him smoking cigarettes.
He's like, yes, ma'am. Oh shit, how do I get these done? Oh my God, I don't have it done.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, that's what he was thinking. But then he knew I can't do this. And I think she let him ride it for a while before.
Yeah.
He comes home and was like...
He's like crunching numbers.
Yeah, he's like, you're not going to believe this. I got the biggest order ever. We just started. And the whole time I was like, yeah, April Fool's. And so then his optimism was just crushed.
Oh.
And,
see, that's the kind of stuff I hate. I'm like, that's just so mean. Bless his heart.
I think it was so... We'll have to get Mom to tell us the
I'm
story.
sure he probably laughed about it.
Yeah.
Did you ever do one, babe? Did you ever get one?
I got my friend Chad real good. I put an ad on Craigslist there under the jobs, and I put job offered, general labor, no experience needed, long-term project, $35 an hour, full benefits, looking for tons of guys, starts immediately. I put
That's funny.
not very familiar with email. Not very familiar with email. Please call, and I put his phone number.
Oh, geez.
I mean, he said he would hang up his phone and it would already be ringing again.
Golly.
It filled up his voicemail in about 5 minutes, and
That's
he was
awesome.
mad. They were calling all through the night.
Oh my God.
That is a good one.
That is a good one. That's a good one.
He
That's
pranked
Mad.
everybody.
And he didn't know who it was. But I had told a few people. And so he found out it was me. He's like, "Oh, you got me good." And he ended up telling his brother, and his brother put one on there right afterward, putting these free pygmy goats, and put his phone number again. So then it just became this ongoing thing where we were just putting things for free on Craigslist to Chad.
Oh my God, that is genius.
Number changed. Y'all are assholes.
Free pygmy goats. Hey, I'm here for the pygmy goat.
I would be interested to meet some of the people that wanted to get the free goat.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is
All kinds.
hilarious.
They're
I
all
bet you could
kinds.
still do no ideas out there, kids. Don't do that. Golly, that could get dangerous.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm
That
going to have
is
to
a
do
good
that
one.
to Cullen next year.
Be like, I swear these people keep calling for free sexual favors, and I don't know why they want me to come over and dance for them.
Not again.
It's these viewers. Somebody's got my phone off YouTube. Oh my God!
I'm so glad that y'all came on the podcast tonight, and we haven't. I'm so surprised we've never had you on before, but thank God you're finally down here. We got you in the back. She's usually the one that's upstairs handling
The chaos.
Yeah, she had
everything
Sophia
else.
last week. Or, 2
holding
weeks ago.
down the fort while me and Cullen are down here, just hanging out.
Loading the dishwasher.
Yeah, doing the adult things while we're down here playing. But yeah, I'm so glad that y'all are able to come on the podcast. We love having you, and you're always welcome and all that good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We never did get a "Don't Tell Mom" story from Katie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have one. Should I tell it real
Yeah.
fast? It's
Yeah.
really not that big of a deal, except I think my mom just found out about it a couple years ago. It was when we were making a YouTube video. No, when I was 14. Oh, Madeline, I was 14, I think.
Oh,
She just turned 14. Yeah, I saw
so-
her birthday.
Yeah, I was. I've been told by my parents I was not allowed to get my belly button pierced until I was 35.
Oh.
Just turned 36, and I'm going in next week.
I told you to stand. That's what I said. Stand up.
Stand
Let
up,
me
show
show you.
them what happened. No, but my mom was always like, if you still want it when you're 35, you can go ahead and get it. You know, it's kind of a joke, you know. So I was 14, and my friend and I decided we wanted our belly buttons pierced. So we knew we couldn't just go do it by ourselves. We couldn't even drive. So we found some safety pins and got some ice.
Yeah.
And you can't give away the best part.
I'm saving this for tomorrow. This is going up tomorrow.
So we got some safety pins, and we pierced our belly buttons with safety pins and ice, and left the safety pin, like we buckled it.
Yeah.
You know, like left it
That
in
was
there.
the ring, yeah.
I don't think we even knew that we should have used alcohol to sanitize it or anything. Shout out to Susan. I still, like, it was... We pierced them in the bathroom, my parents' house. Next day, we had to go to an Alabama football game, and I was like in all this pain. I'm like, God, this still, is it supposed to hurt this bad? It starts getting red. Obviously, got infected. I had to take it out, but I still have a scar. So yeah,
Nice.
But she literally, my parents, I don't think knew until a couple of years ago.
What? You never investigated the belly button and your bikini or whatever the following summer? That's how I got busted. I got a tattoo when I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16, a little dolphin on my hip, and my dumbass walks out to the pool that summer. With the big dog, you know, mom's like, what the? Snatched me up.
I don't think I've told this story about when I got my tongue pierced. Speaking of getting pierced things, and
did you get the front or the back?
no comment. No, but no, Dad. Him and Mom had suspected something.
Here's the back.
No. But Dad had suspected something, and they
You're talking like this.
you know, talking like I had like something in my mouth for like a week, and it was all swollen. It wasn't a mustache or anything, but he knew that I couldn't say no to his biscuits and gravy, and so one morning, just out of the blue, he just, hey, come try this new gravy, and like stuck the spoon up to me, and I just went, and then he like grabbed my tongue almost, and he's like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Barry, come here. I was done.
Hey, bring me the pliers.
Yeah. Oh man, it got pretty bad there for a little while. But I think they let me keep it at that point.
No, they did not.
You still have a scar. I mean, you had it until like right before we met.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't have it when we met, but it was recent past. I feel like you had it for a good little bit.
Yeah, I had it for a
right?
good while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things like once you get used to it, it's hard.
Then it's weird to not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to get rid of it. But anyway, we'll have to talk more about all our piercings and tattoos later.
Never know what I got done when I turned 35. Free for all.
Granddolly, let's hope she's not listening to this episode.
Right?
Hey, we should go get some "Don't Tell Mom" tattoos after this, guys.
You want
do
to?
it.
All of us?
I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Baby's first tattoo.
Oh well, that will do it for episode 41 of the Don't Tell Mom podcast. With special guests.
Our
the
most
co-host.
special guest.
Yes,
Our most special guest.
the very best. We every episode we're like, whoever was all the other guests, they sucked. And I mean it this time. Nobody will get better than our spouses. So no, I'm just
That's the truth. That's the truth right there.
So thank y'all. Yes, thank y'all for coming on, and y'all don't forget to subscribe. Favorite this podcast. Listen to it on your favorite podcast listening apps: iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, all the good stuff.
Apple Podcast. Hey, y'all, make sure and leave us some voice memos. We hadn't heard from y'all in a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the weirdest thing or craziest April Fool's joke that you ever heard? Let us know.
Yeah, that's a good
on
one.
the voice memos.
Cool. Thank y'all so much for listening and for watching, and we'll see you next week. Yeah. Woo, 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 42. Peace.
Don't tell Mom. Peace. All right.
Thank you guys. Yeah, and she like held it together. He really is like the baby whisperer.
Seriously.